Last week I bought these off eBay, a set of Mizuno MP33 iron heads, and all I was waiting for was some shafts. Let's do it, and let's do it now. Hi everyone, James Robinson here. Guys, first things first, I would like to warmly welcome you all back to the channel. I hope you're all safe and I hope you are all well. In today's video, I am making from scratch, sounds like I'm making a cake, I am building my new irons, well, sort of. This is a bit of fun, it's a bit of a project. I've got some Mizuno MP33 heads, I've got some KBS C-taper black shafts. I know that because they came with these. If you are new here, please, I'll put these down for now, I think. Oh, that's loud. Guys, if you are new here, please make sure you do consider hitting that subscribe button below. That way you won't miss any of the great golf-related content I bring to you guys every single day. I'd like to hugely thank the guys at Golf Tech UK for supplying me with the shafts, the grips, the ferrules to go with these clubs. We've gone with KBS C-taper shafts. In fact, let's do a bit of a stock take on what we've got. So guys, in front of us today, we have some KBS C-taper shafts. These are all cut to a certain length, but I am going to need to cut these to the right length. So to do that, we have a pipe cutter. You can get these from any kind of DIY shop. I actually stole this from the pro shop at work. This is going to come in useful. We also have the shaft labels, so we know exactly what shafts they are. The shafts are KBS C-taper limited stiff. I think they're about 120 gram, but do not quote me on that. Huge thanks to the guys at Golf Tech UK for sending those out. What would golf clubs be without grips? We have got the Ionic. We're going for a little bit of a stealth look here, as you can tell, so black shaft, black grip. These things feel fantastic, and I'm looking forward to getting these on. Now, how are we going to get these on, you ask? So to get the grips on, I have got grip tape and white spirit. Again, this has been stolen from work, so Alex, I'll get these back to you as soon as this is done. Courtesy of the guys at Golf Tech UK, we also have some ferrules. Luckily enough, the centre's plenty, so these are going to be very handy, because otherwise the club would just look like that, and that's yeah, that looks rubbish. Obviously, we're going to need to glue the heads onto the shaft, so I've been and bought some Ferrule. This is a 2-part kind of glue. It's rapid, so hopefully I ain't got to wait too long, obviously. And I've also got some sandpaper to sand the clubs down with, so the shafts marry nicely. I've got some methylated spirits and some what can only be defined as really kitchen roll, so that the ferrules will be exactly the right size. And if they're not the right size, I can get them basically to be the right size. So that's pretty much everything we have to build these clubs. Now I'm really looking forward to this, and guys, I can't stress this enough, this is not a how-to video. This video will not be titled how to build your own clubs at home, how to glue club heads onto shafts, because I'm not professing to be a club building expert. I never would be, I never have been. The last time I built golf clubs was my PGA exam, which was a long time ago. I'm looking there because it says it on there. Without any further ado, I'm going to talk you through the process. So the process I'm going to do with these, I'm going to sand initially the paint off the shafts. I've gone with black shafts because, primarily just because they look absolutely awesome. I'm not going to go through every single club with you. I'll probably build one with you and build the rest off camera. Ooh, nearly sliced my leg open then. That would have been nice. So the shafts I have got some labels on them, and they tell me a kind of rough estimate of what should go in which club. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring my clubs in which are standard length. Now there's no such thing as industry standard, but the standard, they're basically perfect for me. So I'm going to cut them to the right size there. I'm then going to tape them, then going to grip them. That's obviously after I've put the clubs on the... So the first protocol is this end, then we're going to go to this end. Stay tuned. Camera. I'm lethal with these, lethal. So first port of call is finding the appropriate shaft for the appropriate head. So the shaft here with the label on it, you'll see now. So the shaft I've got here is 39.5 inches, and you can't make that because the camera won't focus, but it does say KBS C-taper, S-flex, hashtag 5-iron. I mean, it's not a hashtag, it's just a number. So I'm going to find the 5-iron head, which is this one here, I think, 5-iron. And this is going to be the one that we're going to build together. And the first port of call is find out how far the shaft goes into the head. make sure there's nothing in there, which there isn't because I've already checked them. So the shaft goes into the head that far. So is that correct? Looking at that and looking at that, you could do this a lot more scientifically, but that's right. I'm happy with that. So now I'm going to sand a little bit of the paint off, and what this is going to do, it's going to help the glue kind of bond into the head a little bit. So obviously I'm going to make sure I don't sand any of the paint off here because that'll make it look horrific and we don't want that. So generally what a lot of people will do, and I should probably do it as well really, is put a little bit of tape around there so you don't go too far. That's if anyone is watching at home, that's really what you should be doing. The PGA would fail me for not doing that. So we'll do that, and then I know that that's where the ferrule's going to be. And I can carry on taking paint off here. That'll do. You can take more off that, you can do less. Look at the state of my hands now already. And I'm going to do that with all of these guys, so bear with me and we'll be right back. Okay, so what I've found here with the pitching wedge is the shaft isn't actually going a long way in. It's only going that far in. Now that's not enough. You can see that obviously it should be going kind of almost twice that far in. So I'm going to check if there's anything in there, and then obviously sand this down as well and hope that if that makes it a little bit thinner, that's going to go a little bit further down. There we go, we've got that now to a point where I'm quite happy that that was in enough. Right, so that's a good job done. Back to the 5-iron, which is going to be our kind of club for the day, and you can see that that fits on nicely. It's quite difficult to move. It does come off, obviously because there's no glue on there, but it should fit nicely and it shouldn't fall off if I do just dangle it down there. So they fit pretty well actually. So far, not a bad job. So now what we're going to do is we're going to fit the ferrules. I don't have a ferrule fitter, a ferrule inserter. I'm going to do a ferrule inserter. So we're going to have to pop them on. So what I'm going to do here is find out where obviously the club finishes. So that's there, and I do need a pen. Not sure about a black pen on a black shaft, but anyway. So now I just need to mark where obviously the ferrule finishes, so I know exactly where that is. Ferrule, not the ferrule, the neck. I should know that. Neck, not even called a neck, it's called a, what's it called? Hosel. How did that take so long? And now I'm going to fit the ferrule on there, and it just has to go, obviously, up to where the pen was. Now the ferrule is a little bit tight. It's not quite on exactly where I would want it to be, so I'm going to hammer the shaft down, and that should bring the ferrule up the shaft. Oh, what an absolute dream this is turning out to be. Guys, I'm not going to lie, I was very nervous when, to be honest, I was really looking forward to making this video. I was also very nervous because I haven't done it in so long. That is an absolute dream. I think we can maybe get it in a touch more, but that's not far away, ladies and gents, from being the perfect ferrule. I'm going to go with that's perfect. Absolutely perfect. And actually you can see here how it doesn't fit too badly. I'm not going to have to sand away much of that ferrule, and then usually what you'd use is acetone, but the people at the shop down the road didn't have it, so I'm using this. I've been told it'll work the same, just to give it a nice polish on there. So what we're going to do now, we're going to glue these on. I'm going to do the 5-iron and show you exactly, and then crack on with the rest of them. Who's enjoying this? Hit those comments below if you're enjoying this. Have I got black on my cap now? I hope not. Right, so first things first, we don't want to be making a mess, do we? So we'll put a little bit of something down there, just in case the girlfriend watches. We don't need the tape just yet. And what I need is any form of old cardboard, so the put-out box will work perfectly. That can go there. We need the Ferrule diets. This is 2 parts, so I'll take this off and we need to just mix those together. Equal amounts ideally of both. And I'm not going to put too much down there. I'm going to do enough to do a couple of clubs, then keep revisiting it. And this is where the T-peg comes in amazingly handy, because it works perfect for this. Mess this up. This will only be enough for probably 1 or 2 clubs. You can see when it mixes together, it's quick dry as well, so that's why I'm just putting a little bit on. Now enter the club, bring this off, and I need to make sure that there's loads and loads of glue on there. I'm going to make sure it's covered in it. Put a little bit on the ferrule so the ferrule doesn't move as well. That's just nice. And then we're also going to put some in the club as well, just so it bonds together nicely. Try not to get it all over the club head. And all it'll do with the excess glue will actually just go up the shaft there. So you always need an empty shaft, a hole in the shaft. If you couldn't see straight down a shaft, then you'd have trouble. The head would just keep popping off because it'd be like a vacuum. So that's going to go nicely on there now. And you can see we've got some excess. So all we're going to do very quickly, if I can find this, is wipe away the excess glue. I'm talking as though I know what I'm doing. It's harder with a camera in front of you, I must say, but so wipe away the excess glue, and now I'm going to leave that to dry in a position where it's going to be upright like that and not mark the wall like I've just done there. So that's the 5-iron done. That is resting outside. We're now going to put all of these together, and I'm going to do the same process with all of them because they're all a little bit tight. Good job nobody's in downstairs, because she wouldn't be happy. Ideally, you would use like a rubber mallet because you don't really want to damage the end of the shaft there, but needs must. I've only got this hammer and we are going to be chopping a bit off anyway. So many people will be kind of saying, in the comments below, you should do it this way, you should do it that way, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. Yes, I know I could do it differently, but that's perfect again. And that was a pitching wedge, which was really, I'm so happy with how this is going. Right, come on, before the glue dries, just nearly chop my leg off again. That's the pitching wedge done. We'll wipe away the excess glue, and you're going to go with your mate, the 5-iron. So guys, I did actually get a bit of glue on my hands there as well. Always a good idea to go and clean them if you do get that, because that's not a nice, it's not nice having Ferrule dye in your fingers together. I saw someone actually do that in the PGA exam, and it was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. Some of the things you see in those exams, by the way, are incredible. There's lads like me who've never really touched anything like this before, and then you've got lads who do it for a job, so the difference is amazing. Right, we're now on the 8-iron. Definitely the ferrule on there. The ferrules are quite tight, but that's good. You'd always rather them be tight than too loose, because obviously if they're too loose, they are rendered useless. Very easy to see why it's such a messy job. Make sure you put something down if you are going to do this at home. Oh, another gold one as well. Remember in the exam, one lad actually put the ferrule on the wrong way around, so put it on that way. You can imagine that A, it's going to look absolutely stupid, and B, there's no way of rectifying that once you've glued it on. So I think he failed, to be fair. I'll keep talking you through these stories because quite fun, really. Another one done. Right guys, that is, as my mum would say, a good job out of the way. You can see there's a lot of kind of cleaning up to do, a lot of glue everywhere. It's difficult to do it when you're filming, but I've tried to keep it as neat and tidy as possible. We've got no glue on the desk, which is fantastic news. And basically now I'm going to go and have a cup, I'm going to have a coffee. They're going to take probably about half an hour to dry. I'll give them a little bit longer just because I'm totally guessing at half an hour to dry, but it does say rapid on there. If you don't believe me, it does say rapid there, so that's got 5 minutes. 5 minutes. So I've really only got time for a couple of biscuits with my brew. So you can see, guys, that I've stuck these well out of the way so I can't knock them. They're in a different room. They're all kind of perched on the wall. And I've done them in order of what I've lined them up in order of what I've done them for. So the 5-iron, which I'm going to carry on with you guys, is here. And then, to be honest, I did them in no particular order, but they're in order now of dryness. So this is the 5-iron, and it should be about there, to be fair. So we'll give it a quick test, and then we will get it to the right length. As I've just said, the next process to this is getting the right length. It's nicely dry, I can tell. I mean, I'm not going to really try and force it, but that's not going anywhere, that's not moving. I feel like that's quite a good job, actually. I do need to buff it up a little bit, but that is great. You can see how now if we left it at the length it came, that wouldn't be, that wouldn't work, would it? So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to use my 5-iron, which is here, which is the right length for me because it was fitted, and mark right level with this bottom line here, which is there. And now it's as simple as getting the pipe cutter to be wide enough and then tightening it up as to where you want to cut. Should have definitely taken that sticker off, but we've started now, so we'll carry on. A bit like a question on question time. And it shouldn't take too long. I mean, this blade is a little bit blunt, which isn't ideal, but still shouldn't take long just to get through the thin shaft. Away! So now that should be the exact perfect length, which it is, to my 5-iron. Next up, the grip. So I wouldn't normally do this, but I am just going to measure where the grip wants to be, because there's nothing worse than having to kind of cut tape off the bottom of after you've done it, especially with a black shaft, because you have to do it with a Stanley knife, and that could obviously chip the paint away, and that is the last thing that we want. So you can use 2-inch grip tape, which can, that was a bit aggressive, wasn't it? But you can use 2-inch grip tape. That would just go around the edge there. You'd fold it over, it would fit perfectly. I don't have 2-inch grip tape, I have this. I prefer this. So what you have to do here, you have to start at the bottom where you want it, and you have to kind of twirl along there. Now that does leave it quite thin. These grips do feel a little bit thin, so I'm going to put 2 layers on there, and then that should be about perfect to bang plenty of white spirit on there. So I'm keeping loads of pressure on there just so there's no bubbles, there's nothing in the way. And as soon as I get down to where my pen mark is, which is there, I'm just going to tear that away. I said this isn't going to be a how-to. I feel like it has become a bit of a how-to, but I just don't, like, if you are going to do it, maybe watch someone else's video as well. They'll be better than me at this. Now I'm going to take off the first layer, because obviously you don't want, this is the fun bit as well, like really give it a bit of a, you don't want that bit on there, obviously. Now I'm going to go the other way, so I'm going to start there, and you can try and get a little bit closer with the gaps, but it uses more tape and I'm really not that bothered, to be fair. So as long as it looks fairly even afterwards, you should be all right. Tell you what, I'm in the wrong job. Well, this kind of is my job, but so you can see now that the tape is on pretty much perfectly. I don't mind having a bit to play with at the bottom there, because that's not going to make any difference whatsoever. So now we'll twirl this off. This is definitely the best bit. Twirl it round. There is the best bit if it does it properly and doesn't leave any on. There. Now, plenty of white spirit. I'm going to fill the grip up. I'm going to pour it back over. In fact, let's not make a mess. Let's actually, these are clean, they're just old. So I'm going to put some white spirit in there. I'm going to try and reuse as much of this as I can, to be fair. So you're always better off using more of this than less, because if you use less, it can be an absolute nightmare. You almost have to start the job again. Get some white spirit. Oh, that's gone down my hand. So that's literally full of white spirit now. Try and get it. I've probably put a bit too much in there, actually. Let's get a bit out. There. And then this is going to go on the floor, and I'm going to pour the white spirit And you'll see now there that all I'm trying to do is get that as kind of playable as possible, and I think that is almost perfect, to be fair, looking at that. Right, we'll give this one a bit of a wipe, and to be honest, aside from putting the shaft sticker on, I'd say that is a job well done. One thing I need to do is just sort out the ferrules a little bit. They're a tiny bit big for it, so it's just protruding a little bit. So what I'm going to do there is get some more. You see how now this is a lot closer to the base, and that's where this stuff comes in. I can't imagine you need a lot of this stuff. Oh, it's come out like new. Right, and the pièce de résistance is basically the shaft sticker. So what I'm going to do is put the shaft sticker on exactly the same place as mine, because then they're all going to be fairly consistent. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the first one done of my irons, and I think that's not a bad job, is it? So what I'm going to do now is crack on with the rest of these out here, and rather than bore you to tears, because it's going to be quite a, I'm going to use a bit of a system now rather than just doing each club individually, but I wanted to show you guys how I would make just one club. I don't think I've done bad there. To say how nervous I was at the beginning, to say how much I was really not kind of looking forward to this video, I think I've done pretty well. So basically, let's cut to the final product. Right guys, done. And as you can see, I think these look absolutely awesome, to be fair. I can't wait to go and give these a go. So obviously now the shafts are in them, the grips are on. I've got a feeling these are a little bit upright, which doesn't really suit my game, so I might get them in a loft and line machine, maybe just bend them to be a little bit flatter. I don't think they're too bad, but they're definitely going to need a little bit of tweaking, which is fine. If you buy things off eBay, I got these heads for £70. Obviously I got the shafts and grips from guys at Golf Tech UK. They were awesome in sending these out. They took like a matter of days. Everything's perfect, ferrule's perfect, shafts perfect, grips perfect. So make sure you go and check their website out. That's linked down below. This isn't a paid advertisement, by the way. They just helped out massively. One thing which you may notice as well, you may have said, well, he's not swing weighted them. And I haven't, you're right. That's because I have no clue what I'm doing in regards to swing weight. It's not my area. It's not something I've really researched too much. So what I've done, you'll see with the 5-iron, I've actually got some little weights, little lead weights that you can kind of put on clubs, and I'm going to test them out. I'm going to try different weights. I'm actually going to make more content with that because, well, content's content, isn't it? So really looking forward to trying these, really looking forward to testing them with different weights on. Obviously, you can always just whip the grips off, put some swing weights down the shaft, I believe, and that'll sort that out, no problem. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed that. These are my kind of homemade golf clubs, as it were now. I think they look absolutely awesome. I hope you've enjoyed that. Remember, if you are going to do this at home, well, I've left some glue on there. Maybe watch someone else, because like I said, it's a bit of a bodge job, isn't it? But I'm quite pleased with the job I'm done. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed it, make sure you do hit that subscribe button below. Leave us a like if you enjoyed that, and as always, I mean, also comment below what kind of content do you want to see with these. How good do they look? They look awesome. But I guess I'll just see you tomorrow.